你很漂亮，非常漂亮。
All right, super. So joining us now is Hart Ginsburg. Hey, Hart, how are you? Thank you so much
Yeah,
for joining us. So good to see you.
thank you. Anne, right? Your name is
Yes,
Anne. Nice to meet
Anne
you.
Marie McDougall. So I am the host for the online portion of the film festival, and I've been doing this
Okay.
for maybe 7 years now. But
Oh, great.
meeting a tremendously diverse range of filmmakers, and very curious to learn more about your draw into this material. But beforehand, I'd like to, if you don't mind, and we do appreciate you joining us, is to read your director's statement.
Sure.
Um, so, what you say, because I find it highly informative, as a therapist working with immigrants and refugees, broaden my understanding of humanity through their resilience, humility, and kindness. And particularly with witnessing them write beautiful poems and vivid paintings of their countries of origin was profoundly moving. In a small way, I attempt to respond to these experiences by providing inclusive spaces for healing, thereby films became one such way to open up a therapeutic dialogue between the limitations of language, socioeconomic factors, and stigma. I find that very, very powerful and informative. Um,
Thank you.
yeah. So you're a therapist by professional background.
Right, exactly. And that it kind of like organically moved me towards short film, really, and other kind of mediums because just as you read, I was really just deeply inspired by what the clients or the participants were doing with art, and I wondered how we could kind of open this up a little further. Um, and yeah, many of them weren't really, let's say, classically trained or anything, but the art was so genuine and so beautiful that I still reflect upon it as such a powerful experience.
Yeah, well, it is powerful. And, my background is in banking. I've been banking and leading teams across Canada for maybe 25 years. So, I'm often asked why film, but I find it very powerful to help us reflect and to help us communicate in different ways that maybe we wouldn't necessarily feel so comfortable. And this is
Yes,
only the third day of the online screenings, of which there are 17. And there seems to be a theme pattern happening in this year's festival, whereby the filmmakers are telling stories of liberation and education and how to maximize human potential and also embrace and support the uniqueness of the human being, no matter what their situation is or where they find themselves in. It's about exploring and supporting and you know uh, helping to maximize that potential, less of the judgment, less of the stigmas, etc. Now, you mentioned that you are a therapist by profession. Do you use the film within your client sessions out of curiosity?
um, yeah. Sometimes we do use the film within settings. a lot of times I often use like kind of simple still images, just because of time duration and things of that nature, just to kind of create a dialogue, kind of like what you were saying. Art is in a way a kind of a more inclusive space. But yeah, I find visual imagery can be very stimulating and kind of bring us to different parts of culture, place, time. So yes, in different ways, we do use it. Yeah.
Well, fantastic. How long did it take you to produce, to direct this film, out of curiosity? Like how end to end, start to finish, how long did it take, did this project take, out of curiosity?
I would say from like the initial thought and kind of ideas, and I worked with a couple of people, but one of them very actively would be Ivana Contreras, and there was a lot of back to back dialogue, and I would say about 6 months or so we put it all together, and also Benjamin Thomas did the music, so there was a kind of a cross collaboration with
Yeah.
the visual and the audio musical sides.
Now, did you take some schooling in this, in film, and in advance of taking on the project, or how did it? Did you just put yourself out there? You connected with people who had a bit of know-how, and you just moved forward with the project. How did it come
Yeah,
together?
yeah. When I was in school, undergraduate school, I had a really interesting documentary class I took, and that exposed me to like alternative media. And I had no idea how vast and how deep media is. And one of the filmmakers was Trinh Minh Ha from Vietnam, that really kind of inspired my thinking, not just about film at all, but about culture and about our assumptions and how we can reflect and step back to create more authentic spaces. So it was more from, I guess, a conceptual background, and I lack technical expertise. That's been a slow moving practice for me. Um, yeah,
Notwithstanding, it's one thing to think through a concept. It's another to take action. So I applaud you for your courage to
thank
take
you.
on the project. Yeah. May
Thank
I ask you the symbology of the subway and how that relates to your thinking of freedom of expression, as well as the Mandarin that was used in your, was it Mandarin that was used?
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. Yeah, for me, I guess the highlights of maybe inclusivity is transportation in cities. It kind of is maybe a symbol in a reality of how we move from place to place with all the socioeconomic groups. And I don't know, I just find myself attracted to trains. I used to live in
Huh.
Japan actually,
Oh,
and one of my favorite things was just being on a train and just like
huh.
looking out the window and seeing all kinds of people. So I often kind of come back to trains, um, and what they mean for me in terms of how we connect and kind of the fluidity, the movement, and how it moves throughout the city to different areas. And then, yeah, with Mandarin, kind of coming back to my experience working with immigrants and refugees, I just found myself attracted to the sounds of different languages, one of them being Mandarin. And I was always trying to think, how can we share these beautiful sounds we hear in our work to a more broader population? Because we often think about languages in terms of understanding, what they mean and what people are saying. But I also feel like the textures have healing qualities in themselves,
Hmm.
and just kind of letting them be without translating them. Um,
Yes, true.
so those are a couple thoughts to those questions. Yeah.
That's interesting. I studied in Shanghai and Hong Kong for a period of
Wow.
time, and I took their in Shanghai the maglev train. It's like 400 kilometers an hour, and it was super
Wow.
fast. And of course, in Toronto as well, we use the subway often. And I agree with your, that universality aspect to transportation, and how that helps
Yeah.
to build sort of a common community, I suppose, in terms of relating to the subject matter. Now, what have you done with this film? Have you shared it with your colleagues in or other networks in Chicago or elsewhere or other film festivals?
Yeah, this is kind of, thanks to Comfest and thanks to you, this is one of our first kind of events to really share it. Um,
How
we did,
exciting!
yeah. So thank you for being open to that, because I think it might look a little bit different than the kind of the mainstream films. But we're very honored to be part of this festival.
Oh, it's our honor as well to
Yeah,
have you and privileged to have you here. So thank you for
yeah,
it's newness for everyone, right? I applaud you again for your courage to put it forward, and it's a delight to have. Now, so you're aware,
yeah.
over the next 2 or 3 weeks, at the end of this festival, which is the end of this week, we'll be showcasing your material through VOD, video on demand, in the
Oh, thank you,
Filmocracy site and Comfest site. So viewers will
thank you,
be able to purchase, a video on demand pass that will have access to your film. So I wish you
thank
the
you,
very best and continued
thank you,
success with this film, and however it is that you're going to expand awareness, maybe in the education system or in the health system, or as you
thank
say,
you,
through your therapist network. Um, I think it's really it's a great thinking in terms of how do we use these other tools to help access the psyche behind the human
yes,
potential, unlock the
thank you.
human potential.
I really appreciate it, and thank you for creating such an amazing festival. Um, just very honored to participate in this dialogue. So
It's
thank
our
you,
pleasure. It's our pleasure. Thank you so much for your time here, and
thank you,
continued success with your next projects.
thank
And
you.
if you're in Toronto, please come visit us.
I will. I would love to go to Toronto.
All right.
Thank you.
Good luck. We'll talk to you again soon. Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.